Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 35. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan. Today we're going to start our new arc, the Arc of Escalation, with Pimpform Ultimus. But before we do that, hit our theme song! Hey, Ryan, we're back for another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
I'm good. What's going down?
A whole ton. We're starting our new arc today after a week off of answering listener questions.
Oh, yep.
It's going to be super great. That's basically what's going on.
Arc of Escalation. What
does that mean, Ryan? Why are we calling it that?
Let's tell the listeners what it means after we do our few things of housekeeping.
Right, housekeeping. That includes the social media coordinates. We are CCO Podcast on Twitter and tappedout.net. That's where you can look at the list that we're going to talk about today, any list we talk about in the futures, any list we've talked about in the past. We're commandercookout@gmail.com if you want to send us an email, hate mail, fan mail, suggestions, no nudes.
Or nudes?
We're also Commander Cookout on iTunes, Google Play, Podomatic, Patreon, Commander Society, edhrec.com, YouTube, and I think that's it.
I think that you got them all.
I think I got them all. We are everywhere. Oh, man. We're like the colon cancer that's spread up to the heart.
Yes.
We take you down every single time.
Couple things about that. You mentioned the Patreon. Brand new.
I did.
Shout out to the new Patreons.
Yes, thank you very much.
Couple things we wanted to say about that. And we're not going to beat it to death because I don't want to be one of the shows that takes 15 minutes at the start and end of every episode to do the Patreon shout outs, beg for money.
Exactly.
So this is our version of obligatory begging for money, and really it's going to be telling you that never, ever is there going to be any of our podcasting content behind paywalls on Patreon.
Correct.
And everybody in CCO Nation is the same. That's why we're doing it this way. Okay, so we were talking and we were saying like, okay, do you remember when you were 6 years old or in grade 8 or whatever, you didn't have money, you couldn't get a booster pack, you couldn't get the card that you wanted, or you were in college, you were not having a job and you couldn't play in a tournament because you couldn't afford the entry fee. We don't want anything like that in the CCO Nation, okay? So if you want to listen to the podcast, it is 100% free and will continue to be 100% free. And if you want to throw us a couple bucks, great. Is there going to be incentive to do so? Yes. Merch? Eventually.
Yes. Merch is sweet.
That's what we got to say about that. And I don't want there to be any inequality here because everybody is free and welcome to listen.
And thanks for listening.
Speaking of listening, CCO Nationalite Max Crandell said that we are his second favorite podcast.
Why are we number one?
Because he likes the guys over at CMDR Central better.
F those guys.
Yeah. New beef.
CMDR Central. I've never even heard of them.
Yeah, they're going down.
Mm-hmm. Just like the Christian Coalition Outreach and Nissan.
Oh, yeah. Nissan stole our song.
Let's pull back the curtain a little bit, Ryan.
Yeah.
Our theme song is a royalty-free song.
Yep.
That we got off of one of those royalty-free music sites because you need a theme song. Neither one of us are musicians. So we found a song. What the hell is a multinational billion-dollar corporation like Nissan using open-source music for? Could they not pay somebody to make them a sweet song for their support kids football campaign?
And also, what are the odds?
Right?
Do you know how much free music is online? Like all of the music in the history of humanity is online.
And free.
And they picked our song.
They took our song. Maybe somebody at Nissan's a fan.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, the CEO of Nissan. Friend of the show.
Or their marketing guy or like their media guy or something. Friend of the show, Nissan marketing guy.
Yeah, thanks for listening, Nissan marketing guy. And stop using our song.
Also,
F you. There it is.
Okay, so getting into it. Arc of Escalation. What does that mean?
We are going to escalate commander powers throughout the course of the list. What does that mean? We went on tappedout.net, as you all should, and we found a list maintained by a few guys that we're going to talk about in a second that lists every commander in Commander based on their power, tiers them, and we're going to start at the bottom of the barrel with some piece of crap at tier 5, and we're going to build our way all up to tier 1. And when we hit tier 1, we're going to do an extra special episode where we may or may not have a guest appearance from somebody.
Yep.
Woohoo, teasers.
Yep. And okay, so there are a couple lists like this. There's a couple for multiplayer. The lists exist for 1v1. The lists exist for competitive EDH or CEDH. Okay, so we are using the list that is maintained by the Giga Beast, Sonnet 666, and Naraj ED. I don't know if I'm saying any of those names right, but those are their tapped out names. Those are the guys that are maintaining this list. And this is a community list. So the rankings are based on comments, game descriptions, I guess power levels of what people at large who play Commander in a multiplayer setting think are the most powerful commanders.
I dig that.
So, of course, tier 5 and 4 are the biggest, and then tier 3 is a little bit smaller, tier 2 is a little bit smaller, and I think this list has tier 2.5, tier 1.5, then tier 1. You might be in for a few episodes in the Arc of Escalation, but I guess the main thing is we're starting at the bottom, and we're working our way up.
Yes.
Much like the CCO podcast has done over the last X amount of months.
Yes.
Ooh.
We're encapsulating our journey as a show into a group of shows.
Oh.
Ooh, that's exciting.
So, who are we starting with today? Mistform Ultimus.
Who is the Mistform Ultimus, you may ask? We'll give him a quick read. Mistform Ultimus is a 3/3 for 4, one of which is blue, legendary creature, Illusion. Mistform Ultimus is every creature type. That is all. So he's a 3/3 for 4 with Changeling.
Yeah. Is that what Changeling is?
Yes.
How come they just not just errated to Changeling?
I don't know.
Because nobody cares enough.
Yeah, nobody cares about Changeling. Changeling
Sorry,
is
guys.
the
I'm
lore
a
one.
little bit sick right now. I got Kleenex and stuff.
That's really gross.
Facial tissue for people who don't know what name brand Kleenex is. The radio station's probably too cheap to buy Kleenex anyways.
Yeah, that probably is.
Is it?
I don't know. You're the one that pulled it out of the box, man. I wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so Mistform Ultimus is a 3/3 for 4 every creature type in mono blue. So what would one do with an every creature type in mono blue? I guess play every mono blue lord?
Probably. And then turn it into some kind of Voltronic contraption, probably.
Yeah. Or one could also play Merfolk Beatdown.
Yes, it would be a good backup plan.
Or Wizard Control.
Also could be done.
Or Clone.deck.
Already been done.
Yeah, but this can do that too.
Bah.
Yeah. So I guess big range. But before we get into that, let's get into the recipe a little bit. Let's talk about the actual list because you'll see what I mean when I say there's a range and the jokes we made the last couple weeks about how many creatures means you're an aggro deck, how many artifacts means you're a Voltron deck. This guy, 29 creatures.
Sounds like a creature deck.
Artifacts, 25.
Sounds like a Voltron deck.
Yeah, what the heck? I guess lords in the deck, 11.
Whoa.
11 merfolk or blue, like blue creature gets +1/+1.
Right.
Or spirit gets +0 plus or +1/+0 or
Right.
+1/+1. 11. So doesn't matter what creature type is getting buffed. Mistform Ultimus, Misty, as I call him, will always get buffed. So you could see how it could be a beatdown deck.
Yes. And all of your creatures obviously work on one another, which is good.
Yep. And because there's so many Merfolk Lord, all of the Merfolk Lords are given all of the other Merfolk Lords their bonus.
Yes. The illusions and spirits and stuff probably come into play a little bit less of the time.
Let's give a couple Merfolk Lords a read because I don't think that Merfolk is a particularly prevalent tribe in EDH. Is it? It's not like elves, right?
No, I've tried it a bunch of times and it's never worked.
And especially mono blue. If you want Merfolk in EDH, you're probably going to have to go like blue-white or blue-black or Esper even.
Yes, or yeah, definitely do both. I mean, the black ones aren't super great, but there are some really great ones in white that gain you life or just make you dudes or...
And black is just super great in EDH.
Yes, and black gives you the tutors to find those guys.
So let's read a couple of them.
Okay, so we got Marrow Regery. He is a 2/2 for 2 and a blue. Other merfolk creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever you play a merfolk spell, you may tap or untap target permanent.
Oh, so play a merfolk, tap something, beat in on tapped board.
Very good. We have Lord of Atlantis. He's a 2/2 for 2. Other merfolks get +1/+1 and have Island Walk.
Beat in on the guy who's got islands.
Master of the Pearl Trident is a 2/2 for blue. Other merfolk creatures you control get +1/+1.
And have island walk. Just like Lord of Atlantis.
Except it works just for your guys.
Ooh.
Ooh, nice. Merfolk Sovereign. Other merfolk creatures you control get +1/+1. Tap it. Target merfolk creature is unblockable until end of turn. It's a 2/2 for 1 blue.
Okay, so I'm seeing a trend here. We've read 4 lords in quick succession. All of them are pumping other merfolk. So they're
Correct.
pumping each other and Mistform Ultimus, and they're giving some form of evasion.
Correct.
Theoretically, they could make themselves all giant beaters, or they could make Mistform Ultimus one giant beater.
Correct. That is unblockable if they control islands, or if you tap a guy.
Yeah, just straight up unblockable.
Yeah. It's like a Rogue's Passage on a dude.
Ooh.
Neat.
Guess what land I'm playing in this deck?
Shocking!
Rogue's Passage. So that's how that plays out, I guess. And I mean, you can take a sample of 5 creatures in the deck. You're going to have either lords of some form or another, pumping, buffing. It's almost like a mono blue aggro list when you get 5 or 6 dudes out that all provide each other benefit. And there is a surprising amount of creature type overlap, like Merfolk Wizard, Human Wizard.
There's soldiers, there's...
Soldiers, yeah, there's
soldiers
another one.
There is a mercenary, there's a wizard ally. Allies is another thing. There's more wizards,
Humans.
constructs, humans, there's all kinds of creature
More
type
importantly
in
than construct, Mirror. Right?
Mirror?
It's playing Mirror Battlesphere, Mirror Galvanizer, which gives all other Mirrors +1/+1, including Mistform Ultimus, and
Yes.
Plague Mirror.
Correct. Are you playing? Oh, you are playing Plague Mirror. Look at that.
Absolutely, yeah, I love Plague Mirror. It's one of my favorite cards. And then, if you get anything out that's particularly strong, like a Mirror Battlesphere, let's give Mirror Battlesphere a read. I don't think we've ever talked about that card on the show before, and I really like it.
Mirror Battlesphere is a 4/7. 4/7. When Mirror Battlesphere enters the battlefield, create 4 1/1 colorless Mirror artifact creature tokens. Whenever Mirror Battlesphere attacks, you may tap X untapped Mirror you control. If you do, Mirror Battlesphere gets +X/+O until end of turn and deals X damage to defending player. And the art is sweet also.
So imagine if you had 2 of those.
Neat.
Yeah. Imagine if you had 2 or 3 of those and a buff from Mirror Galvanizer. All Mirror get +1/+1. You can beat some wholesale ass.
Correct. Mirror Battlesphere is a very good card on EDH. I'm surprised we never talked about it before.
Yeah, I
What the hell's wrong with us? We
I
suck.
suppose. It's good, and it plays right into the strategy because you've got other pumpers and bonus guys for your Mirror. You
Yes.
can do the whole Mirror beatdown if you wanted. We've beat the creatures to death. What else do we got? Instants. 4. 4 doesn't seem like a very high amount, but we
Not
are
in a
looking...
blue deck especially.
Yeah, well, Cyclonic Rift. Do you need anything else?
Yes. You need Repulse.
Yes, straight out of Evasion.
Yes. Repulse is a instant for 2 and a blue. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Draw a card.
Straight out of Invasion is what I meant to say. Very good because it bounces a dude and returns.
Replaces itself.
Very good because it bounces a dude and replaces itself. That's what I meant to say.
The hell does Keep Watch do?
Keep Watch is an instant for blue 2, and it draws you a card for each tapped creature target opponent controls.
Ooh. And they round that out with an Into the Royal, which is a instant for blue 1. Bounce target non-land permanent to their owner's hand. If it was kicked, draw a card, and the kicker is blue 1.
Sorry, Keep Watch. Instant for blue 2. Draw a card for each attacking creature.
Ooh. It's from Judgment.
Yes.
Neat. It has a Cephid on it. You don't know what a Cephid looks like? Look them up. They're quite neat.
Yes. Yes.
Little
Yes.
Squid, little squid people.
So I like those 4 instants. You get some card advantage, some bounce, some control, whatever you want to call it, right?
Correct.
Sorceries, 3, and I like these ones even more.
Okay, we got Rite of Replication, fairly standard for your Mirror Battlesphere that we talked about earlier.
Or any of your
the
lords. Yeah. You pay, what is it? It's 4 and then a kicker of 5 to put 5 dudes into play.
If you play it like regular, it's 2, blue, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target creature. If you kick it, you put 5 of those into play instead.
So you kick it for 5, and then you put 5 copies of Merfolk Sovereign onto the battlefield.
Yes.
Yep.
Or Mirror Battlesphere, which I think is the optimum play.
I very much like Mirror Battlesphere. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we also got a Fabricate that finds you an artifact, puts it into your hand.
Probably going to find Mirror Battlesphere.
Yes. And you've got a Blatant Thievery. That is a sorcery for 4, blue. For each opponent, gain control of target permanent that player controls.
Very
Good.
excellent. Yeah.
Excellent in EDH.
Yeah. So we like those. Artifacts, 25. Now, we've got most of your standard mana rocks. Okay, so we are going to be playing Soul Ring and Mind Stone and Cage Sun because it's a monocolor deck. Then there's a whole bunch of things that say if it's this creature type or plus extra something if something.
Yeah, let's talk about Blade of the Blood Chief or Blade of the Butt Cheek.
Yes.
As we call it at our table. It is an equipment for 1. Equip for 1, so all in 2. We talk about all in cost lots. Whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. Not the equipment, the creature. Very important. If equipped creature is a vampire, put 2 +1/+1 counters instead.
So whenever something dies, Mistform Ultimus gets +2/+2 permanently.
Nice.
Yeah, I've gotten it to be 35, 36 big. Diviner's Wand is another one. Creature type specific.
Yes, it's for wizards. Equipped creature has whenever you draw a card, this creature gets +1/+1 against flying until end of turn, and 4, draw a card. And whenever a wizard creature comes into play, you can equip it for free. And that equips to a lot of the dudes in your deck, too, not just Mr. Ultimate.
That was the redundancy I was talking about. There are a bunch of wizards, maybe 8 or 10 of them, plus Mistform Ultimus.
Very
which
good.
It would just equip for free to, and then any spare mana late game, 4 mana, draw a card. 4 mana, draw a card.
So we've said a magic word in the early part of the episode. That magic word is Voltron. And looking at the artifacts that you're playing, I only see 1 sword and no Jeet, Ryan. Was that a conscious decision?
Sort of, but I don't have a foiled Jeet, and this deck is 97% foil, pimp, or otherwise altered.
Which is why we call it Pimpform Ultimus.
Pimpform! So we won't spend too much time on the artifacts because we've touched on Voltron over the last few episodes a couple times maybe. Yeah. But there are a few things that benefit humans or creature types specifically. I'm thinking like Sharpened Pitchfork and Butcher's Cleaver and True Faith Censor. They're all things from some form of Innistrad plane.
There we go, yeah.
And they're peasant or church related things that equip to humans and give them some kind of bonus, and it's cute and funny, right? And I think in general the tier 5 lists are cute and funny, or you wanted to build XYZ deck and don't really use the commander, right? That's in the description for tier 5 on the actual list. You're not really playing the commander in these games, or you just use the commander for a color, or the commander's not very powerful.
Yes.
And you know what? That's why I like Mistform Ultimus, because he can actually suit up and beat wholesale ass. Or he plays like an actually established, I guess, archetype or list in real formats. Like Merfolk in Modern or Legacy is or was at some time like the deck.
Yeah.
And this guy can play that.
Yes, he can. He's mono blue too, so you could just play a mono blue deck with a janky commander and everybody.
You could just play mono blue deck, but I don't want to be that guy who's just better than you, right? Okay, so moving on. Enchantments. 1 enchantment.
Oh, it's my favorite one of all time. It's Eldrazi Conscription.
Speaking of beating wholesale ass.
It's an Eldrazi aura for 8. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +10. +10. Has Trample and Annihilator 2.
Most excellente.
So good.
So when a guy with Annihilator attacks you, before anything else, you are sacrificing 2 permanents.
Yes, X things.
Yeah, Annihilator 2, Annihilator 4, whatever it is. Yeah. Lands, 35. That seems like a good number for an aggro deck.
It seems like a land deck. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we talked about Rogue's Passage. That's Voltron card, of course, but I'm also playing Mishra's Factory. I'm also playing Mutavault, also playing Cathedral of War. Like, these are all Blinkmoth Nexus. Sorry, we're not reading all of them.
They're all lands that become dudes that then attack.
Yeah, lands that become dudes or give bonus to other creature type, which is Mistform Ultimus.
Correct. Blinkmoth Nexus has an ability that says tap 1 and it. Target Blinkmoth creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn.
Yeah, or it becomes a Blinkmoth creature.
Correct.
So if you, let's say, weren't playing Commander and had 2 Blinkmoth Nexi?
I don't know how you'd say that.
2 Blink Moth Nexuses on the battlefield, you could make one a creature and buff it with the other one.
Or
right?
you could just use this one to turn himself into a 2/2 blocker.
Yes.
Combat trick, sucker.
And Mutavault kind of works like that too.
And Mutavault is basically Mistform Ultimus, but it's a land.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, it's a land. Tap 1, Mutavault becomes a 2/2 creature that's all creature types until end of turn. Basically, it's a...
Oh, yeah,
your
because
commander on land.
it's my deck. I should know how it works. But yeah, it just makes it get the buff from every lord that's on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Except for the lords that say blue creatures, because it's colorless.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's a Comlander.
Oh!
I am full of awful jokes today. I'm sorry, guys.
Got me coughing in a coughing fit. Jeez, that was excellent. Okay, 2 planeswalkers. I'm playing Jace Beleren. Book Jace, if you will.
Yeah, that's Baby Jace, the very first one. He's for 1 blue, comes in with 3 loyalty, add 2. Everybody draws a card, -1. You draw a card, -10. Target player mills 20. That sounds so bad by today's standard, doesn't it?
Yeah. Especially in Commander.
Especially in Jace.
But I got a sweet, like, $100 promo one.
It only came with like a hardcover novel, right?
Book.
Yeah.
Book Jace.
Who wants to buy a book?
Yep. And then I'm playing Tezzeret the Seeker, and he -X's to find you artifact lands. So he's kind of like a ramp spell.
So -0 gets you your Seat of the Synod.
Correct.
Which is an artifact land. And then I guess -0 gets you your Darksteel Citadel as well.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And his other, like his plus ability is +1, untap 2 target artifacts, which also could be ramp.
Which also could be those 2 lands that you already found with him.
Boom!
Oh,
yep.
Sweet.
So he's good. Okay, moving on. Card draw. 8 cards. We've covered some of them. There's a couple value things like Rite of Replication and Blatant Thievery that aren't actual card draw, but they are going to net you some insane card advantage.
Yes. Blatant Thievery is a beating.
Can you imagine, and this is a play that I've done with this deck before, you have a Seagate Loremaster, which is tap, draw a card for each ally you control, and he is a Merfolk Wizard ally. So he's touching all the 3 main creature types in the deck, 2 of them for sure. And then you take a Rite of Replication kicked on him. Every one of those is going to draw you 6 cards when you tap it. Draw 36 cards as soon as he doesn't have Summoning Sickness.
That's amazing.
And you're probably going to win because you're just going to find your Mirror Battlesphere, your Eldrazi Conscription, you're going to suit up, and you're going to go to town.
Yes.
So this deck can beat wholesale ass.
Yes, it can.
And that's just blue card advantage, right? That's what that is.
Yeah.
It could be drawing, it could be cloning, it could be mass cloning, mass drawing. It does what it wants. Yeah. Okay, so targeted removal, including Cyclonic Rift and Blatant Thievery. I'm counting those. I'm going back to these super powerful instants and sorceries. There's 4 of them, which just move things out of the way so you can get in. I think for the most part, sans some expensive counterspells, it plays very much like the Legacy deck from Legacy.
Yeah, it's basically just missing the forces.
Yeah, I'm not playing forces because F that.
Forces and what's the other thing that they like to play in there? Standstill and...
Oh, I like Standstill. That the new versions don't play that, but Standstill, enchantment for blue 1. The first player to play a spell, sacrifice Standstill, and that player's opponent draws 3 cards.
Dang.
So in Merfolk, you would just like drop a dude, drop a dude, drop a dude, drop a Mutavault or whatever. It's like turn, 3?
No, it goes turn 1, Aether Vial.
Oh,
Turn
that's
2,
right,
Standstill, tick up Aether Vial, play dudes for free while they're sitting there going, oh,
I can't play, I can't draw. Yeah. Aether
Yeah.
Vial. I forgot about that card. I'm not playing that one in here, but maybe it goes in the list, right?
Aether Vial?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I got a foil one, so it could just get slotted in instead of whatever. You're all soft on bone splitters and bone saws. I had a foil one, so of course I stuck it in here. Maybe I take it out because it's kind of like a do nothing card. Really? And
well, compared to play dudes for free,
yeah, play dudes for free is kind of okay.
It's pretty all right.
Mass removal 2, and I'm including the same 2: Cyclonic Rift and Blatant Thievery.
Damn.
Yeah, Blatant Thievery isn't really mass removal,
But he gets rid of all the best stuff.
if you are getting the best version of all of your opponent's creatures, you are up 1 and they are down 1. So you're 2 for 1ing every one of your opponents with that card.
It's very good.
That's why it costs, like, what does it cost? 8? It must cost 8 because you can potentially win the game with it.
Only costs 7.
Ooh.
Because it relies on somebody else doing something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, if it cost 8, then it would be the one where you search through their library for stuff. Something like that. Yeah. But I don't think there is one that gets all of your opponents, though. I think there's one that you can search through target opponent's library, find a thing, put it into play.
Yes.
If you know the card we're talking about, Hit us up on Twitter.
There's Acquire. There's Thada Adele does that when she hits
She only
you.
gets artifacts, though. I think Acquire is only for artifacts, too.
I don't remember. We're so bad at Magic.
I don't think we're bad at Magic. We're just remembering too many cards right now. And you're sick and...
Oh, yeah. Mana Rocks and Dorks, 11.
Dang.
Which is probably a good amount.
I feel like that's a lot in a deck like this. Just like looking at the list, you kind of top out at 3. I don't know if you need that much ramp.
Here's the thing. Remember, we're playing like the Mind Stone, Commander Sphere, and Caged Sun, which cost 6. And the Mana Rocks, much like the creatures, go all the way from 1 drop all the way up to 6 drop. 7 drop in Mere Battlesphere's case, right? So at any point in the game, you could be exactly on curve, like 1 drop rock, 2 drop rock, 3 drop rock. Turn 4, you could have your Mere Battlesphere equipped up with something to beat ass.
Yeah.
So it's kind of very sound in that way from a deck building perspective when you can be exactly on curve with your rocks or your creatures and play like the beatdown creature Merfolk style, or you could play the beatdown big mana or Voltron style. It's just very smooth like that because you're playing a lot of like really good cards.
Yes.
And it's funny if they weren't foil, like what's a Lord of Atlantis or Lord of the Unreal in regular cost, like 50 cents. The foil ones, because they're all legacy cards, are like super expensive.
And Lord of Atlantis is Lord of Atlantis is $9.
Oh, so no way.
85 Canadian. And I think a foil one last time I was trying to get them.
They're like $20.
Yeah, they're $20 or $30. And I think I have 2.
The foil 7th edition ones are like $300.
Oh, 7th edition.
7th edition, yeah.
F you 7th
Get your
edition.
7th edition foil, kids.
Oh, man. And if you have a Goblin Matron from 7th edition that's foil, they're worth like 25 cents. Just send one into the show.
For sure. A couple Mana Rocks of note in this list. We have got Sapphire Medallion, which is a 2-drop artifact that makes blue spells cost 1 less to cast. We've got Ethereum Sculptor, which is a creature that artifact spells you play cost 1 less to cast, and he is a Vidalcan Artificer, which is the shits because he should be a wizard.
Vidalcan's that's the bunch of people that they were doing then.
You know what? Vidalcans are the Naga of your world.
Oh,
like he should be a wizard like Nagas should be snakes.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. He should be a wizard artificer or a Vidalcan wizard.
Yes.
But he's a Vidalcan Artificer.
Stupid.
Epic fail.
Stupid everything.
Yep. Not stupid?
Not
Super
stupid.
Secret Tech. That's my other Mana Rock of note.
Super Secret Tech. Let's give that a read.
Oh, I love it.
3. All premium spells, that's foil, cost 1 less to play. All premium creatures get +1/+1.
So you now know my Super Secret Tech as to why everything is foiled.
Yes.
Because it makes Mistform Ultimus bigger. And it makes my Eldrazi Conscription and my Rider Replication and my Blatant Thievery cost less.
Also important of note, that's an unglued card.
Yeah, that you'd have to clear it with your play
You
group.
got to clear it with the play group, much like Grimlock, much like Goblin Bookie, much like that triple strike goblin from Unhinged.
Unstable,
whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah, stupid everything.
It's a stupid set.
Super Secret Tech, I mean, everybody's playing foils, so it's just fun, and I like it.
And it does work for your opponents as well. Like, that's a thing, so it's not like you're gaining some kind of advantage because you have an all-foil deck and everybody else is
Yeah.
Like, it actually probably helps me more than you because all my stuff's foil anyway, and I'm playing real cards.
How to play. Excellent range. Talked about that already. That's what I love about it.
It's very cool. It's a surprisingly strong deck.
You want to beat down? You do Merfolk. You do Voltron. You suit up, right? You want to play control? You got some control in there. Okay, but much like Gaddock Teague from 2 weeks ago, turn 1 through 3 equipment. Turn 4 Mistform Ultimus. Turn 5 you're swinging for probably 2 hits.
Yes, 2 pump chump as we call him.
2 pump chump, or he's a 3 pump chump, but you've dealt maybe in 2 hits you've dealt like 18 damage.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. You could play him natively. He's a 3/3. You go from 18 to 21 in 1 hit just by making him unblockable with no equipment on him with like a Rogue's Passage or something.
Correct.
Yep. It could do Infect. This is a play that I like is you put down your turn 2 Plague Mirror and then ramp a bit and then you play a Quicksilver Gargantuan.
Quicksilver Gargantuan, easy for me to say, is a 7/7 for 5 blue. You may have Quicksilver Gargantuan enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature, except it's a 7/7.
Ooh, 7/7 Plague Mirrors? Thank you.
Sounds good.
Then you just put one piece of equipment on it. It's probably okay. Don't mind that. The other way to play it, and this is a throwback all the way to episode 6, Clone.deck, when we did Kami of the Crescent Butt Crack.
Yes.
So there is only 5 clones in here, but 5 is not none. And I'm playing OG Clone. I'm playing
Clever Impersonator.
Yeah, that's a good one because it copies anything.
Yep. You're playing
Phyrexian Metamorph is a good one because it only costs 3 if you are willing to pay 2 life, and it could become a creature or an artifact.
Yep. And then we got Quicksilver Gargantuan. We already talked about him. And the last one is, I call him Shitty Cryptoplasm. It's Cryptoplasm, and he's shitty. Don't play him.
He costs 3.
He's shitty.
Oh, you know what? You could probably play, what's the spell? It costs 3, and then it flashes back for
Cackling Counterpart.
Cackling Counterpart. That's probably better than Cryptoplasm, right?
It only copies your stuff. You should be playing the Vizier of Many Faces. That's who you want.
Is that one good?
Yeah.
What does that one do? Let's give that one a read because it's new. I remember the name, but I don't remember what it does.
Vizier of Many Faces is a clone for 2 blue. It comes into play as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, and you can embalm it for 5, which means it'll come back from your graveyard as a clone of something else, but it's also a zombie, and I think it's white. It is also white.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's better than Sakashima the Imposter. Because Sakashima is blue 2, comes into play as a copy of target bro, except its name is still Sakashima, so you can copy legendary things, and she got, blue 2 bouncer to your hand, so she can copy something else. Kind of like Vizier of Menage, or Vizier of Many Faces.
I like Vizier a little better, I guess, just in terms of cost.
You know what? Here's
buying one.
Here's the thing is, if you want to clone 2 things with Sakashima, you are paying 4 to cast her, 4 to bounce her, 4 to cast her again. That's 12. If you're wanting to clone 2 things with Vizier, 4 to cast her, she needs to die, then you pay 5. So you're only paying 9 to clone 2 things. Also, foil Sakashima are going to be way more than foil Vizier.
Because Sakashima is real stuff.
Yeah, I suppose.
No, he is. He's a real thing.
Yeah.
Or she.
Whatever it is. I think it's a girl.
Anybody who knows anything about Asian names, Sakashima.
Or Crappy Gawa.
Yeah. Hey. What do we call it? The worst set in Magic history?
Yep.
Totally is. We keep finding good cards from it, though, which kind of makes me sad.
We could find good cards from the dark, though.
That's true. Coming up in our next episode, I actually found another one.
What?
Yeah. Damn it.
Dang it. So, you could run 18 Lord.deck or pump equipment. Let's call it 18 Lord.deck. You could run Clone.deck. You could run Voltron.deck. I think if we want to move into the strengths and weaknesses, that's kind of a strength and kind of a weakness.
Correct. It's got a wide array of where you can go, but it doesn't focus hard enough on any one of them to make it super efficient.
That's exactly why it's a weakness, because you can kind of play the mini faces type game, but you're a jack of all trades and master of none.
Exactly. You're a red mage. And you know what happens to red mages?
They usually die.
Correct. That's a Final Fantasy reference.
Okay, moving down the strength category. It's fun. It's nostalgic.
How is it nostalgic?
Well, if you look backwards in time and want to play Merfolk.deck, that was a deck that you have or still have. Had or still have?
Still have.
Still have.
Modern and Legacy.
Still fun.
Yes, it is.
If you like kind of rolling your collection in or out of Legacy and into Commander,
here's a chance.
This is a chance to do that, for sure. Very much for that same reason, feels like a pet deck. You're playing all your favorite equipments. You're playing all your favorite lords. If you like Merfolk, you probably like playing blue because you're probably better than everybody. You would like this deck. It's affordable if you don't foil anything out.
You're looking at the tapped out page. It looks like this deck would cost you about $201 American, which would be about $85,000 Canadian.
Well, here's the thing. Tapped out is a little bit glitchy right now for whatever reason, and it never used to be, but it doesn't actually have pricing on a significant portion of the cards in the deck.
Huh.
So what I did was looked up the cards that it didn't have a price on, particularly if it was one of the special cards that you get in boosters, you know?
Yeah, there's a word for that.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Those, the inventions, the expeditions. If you include the regular price of those cards, $365. $1 every day of the year to build this deck.
That's not too bad. That's couch change. If you can find $1 worth of change in your couch every day.
Well, if you can find $1 of change in your couch every day, you should probably go to patreon.com, CCO Podcast. I'm just saying. Throwing that in there.
Oh, that was bad, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a little bit of an uncommon build, right? It is a tier 5 commander, and not everybody just says, I'm going to build this shitty commander.
Yes.
Everybody's wanting to play the tier 3 and above guys, because those are the most powerful.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Air quotes, funner ones, right?
Yeah, once we're done with the deck, we'll get into that a little bit.
Okay, weaknesses. Very much suffers from Zada effect.
Yes.
18 lords, that's like all of them. Or all of them that aren't terrible.
Yes, and once they die, they're dead.
Yeah. Overall, not very powerful because it is a jack of all trades, master of none. It's like a Swiss Army knife. It does what you want, but if you need to like slice through the jungle, you need a machete. And
Correct.
This is not a machete.
Yeah. If you're wanting this deck, but a machete, you're probably looking at original Omnath.
Yeah.
Because you could probably build the same sort of deck around him, but use elves instead of merfolk. Elves have more reach and EDH. Green typically has...
Because they do the big mana thing, right?
Yeah.
And the big pump thing.
Yeah, they ramp, they pump. It does all that stuff.
You can play Big Papa Pump, Crater Hoof Behemoth, right? Like you're playing a higher powered deck.
Yes, it's the same deck, but green, and that's why Omnath isn't a tier 5 commander, and Mistform Ultimus is.
Yeah, and that's exactly leads into my last weakness there is you could play other higher tiered commanders that do what this deck does, just better.
Yes.
I guess that's the summation of it.
Correct.
So, total cost of the deck, $365 if you don't foil anything out.
Yes, which of course makes the super secret tech useless.
Now, exactly. So you cut that because super secret tech is actually like $15.
Dang.
And if you actually wanted to build this deck full on budget, and I know F the budget, that's what you always say, but it runs an Elephant Graveyard from Arabian Nights. An Elephant Graveyard is actually $130.
Jesus.
So immediately cut that if you don't want to spend $300.
Replace it with Island.
Yeah. Swarmyard, $9 now. Regenerates a squirrel, spider, rat, or insect, right? Cut that, $9. Mutavault, $13.50 now because it's a modern card.
Harder to cut that one because it's really good in this deck.
Very much so.
That would be a painful cut.
Another painful cut, Riptide Laboratory or Laboratory.
This is a cool card.
I like this one, yeah.
It's a land, taps for a colorless, or you can tap it, a colorless, and a blue, return target wizard you control to its hand, owner's hand.
That's Mistform Ultimus during a Wrath, but it's also a lot of other wizard spells that you want to protect, including stuff like Archaeomancer. Archaeomancer gets you back a instant or sorcery from your graveyard when he enters the battlefield.
He's a 1/2 for 2 blue.
So you like that Blatant Thievery?
Do it again.
You play your Archaeomancer and get it back from your graveyard, and you Blatant Thievery again, and then you Riptide Lab the Archaeomancer back to your hand.
And do it again.
Turn. That's actually an infinite turn combo if I were to play a Time Warp type effect.
Yes.
So if you like that kind of thing.
If you're into that, there you go.
You could spruce this deck up quite a bit. But we're talking about budget, and Time Warp, not so budget.
Correct.
Vesuva, $13. It's a land clone.
Yep, that's an EDH thing. Guaranteed.
Does it go in Tron?
Maybe, yeah, I think it might.
CCO Nation, does Vesuva go in Tron?
We don't play enough Modern to know those things.
Yeah, I don't know. Vesuva copying Mutavault seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Right, so...
Vesuva copying a Gaia's Cradle sounds pretty good, too.
Yeah, that goes back to playing green instead of blue if you want to do this kind of deck.
Well, if somebody else is playing a Gaia's Cradle, you can have one, too.
Oh, that's a thing, yeah, for sure. Anyways, Elephant Graveyard, Swarmyard, Mutavault, Riptide Lab, Vesuva, $183 worth of cuts. You're cutting the price of the deck literally in half.
Yes.
And then you've got a deck for under $200.
That's pretty, and it's a good deck. It's a fun deck.
And that sounds like a lot of fun. Tutors. We didn't talk about tutors.
No, we did not.
It has got actually 4 tutors in the deck. And that is a lot for
a kind of a janky deck.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing: tier 5, right? You gotta. I almost said spice it up, but it spices it down technically.
Yeah,
mathematically, spruce it up. You gotta floof it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like when
sometimes
you
just
Christmas decorations out.
Sometimes you just gotta find that Lord. Sometimes you just gotta find that Eldrazi conscription because your deck isn't doing what other decks are doing as good as they're doing it. So you gotta make up for that.
So let's read Sea Hunter because he's my favorite one.
Sea Hunter is excellent. He is a creature. He's a 2/2 for 2 blue, 3. Tap, search your library for a merfolk card, put that card into play, shuffle your library.
Oh, baby.
He's from Masks block.
He's from Nemesis specifically.
Yes.
Yep. So we like that guy. And I mentioned Fabricate before, and Tezzeret the Seeker tutors for artifacts, so he counts. And the last one is Trinket Mage. Gets you your soul ring, gets you a little tiny equipment, gets you your blade of the butt cheek.
Butt cheek. Come on, man.
Yeah, and again, that one is just going to make old Misty into a big 30-30. So you want that one.
Yes, you do. I guess it's time for Card of the Week. You're showing me Oathkeeper Takeno's Daisho.
Eesh, I made him say it.
Legendary artifact equipment from... Where's it from, Ryan?
It's from Crappy Gawa.
Good Lord. Equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever equipped creature is put into a graveyard from play, return that card to play under your control if it's a samurai. When Oathkeeper Tenkesho's Daisho blah, 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 is put into a graveyard from play, remove equipped creature from the game. Equip for 2.
Couple things. There's a whole lot of garbage going on there.
Yes.
So,
That card sucks.
Mistform Ultimus is a samurai. So when he dies, he comes back to play. What? I know.
And he gets +3/+1.
Yeah, that's a big jump. +3/+1. So he becomes a 6/4.
Good God.
He becomes a craw worm because he's also a worm. And if the equipment goes into the graveyard, he gets exiled. Big deal. I'll just play him again.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
So sick.
who saw that coming?
Terrible. And it's $1.
Oh, that's even in Canadian money.
Yeah.
That's so bad. Even in Canada, we'll charge $1 for that. F the exchange rate.
We like that for sure. Milk List?
Milk list.
Milk List is, as per EDHREC.com, the most popular cards per converted mana cost in each color. In this case, blue. Brando's going to read them. I am going to do the obligatory yes or no.
Okay, let me get my spectacles on here. Okay, here we go. At 0, Everflowing Chalice.
No.
At 1, we have Sol Ring.
Yes.
Cyclonic Rift.
Yes.
Blue Sun Zenith.
No.
Thran Dynamo.
No.
Gilded Lotus.
No.
Caged Sun.
Yes.
Scourge of the Fleets.
No.
Stormtide Leviathan.
No.
Inkwell Leviathan.
No.
Omniscience.
No.
Ulamog Infinite Gyre.
No.
Blightsteel Colossus.
No.
Emrakul Promised End.
No.
Blinkmoth Infusion.
No.
Emrakul the Aeon's Torn.
No.
Draco.
No.
Island.
There's a blue deck that plays Draco?
Apparently there's a whole
What
bunch
the
of blue
hell?
decks that play Draco. What
Okay.
kind of blue deck are you playing? You're playing Draco.
Yeah, terrible.
Oh,
Nobody
my
from
God.
CCO Nation better be doing that, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
3 Milk List matches.
Pretty good.
Pretty dang good. The monocolored lists are where we actually see a higher number of matches.
Yes.
And I don't think it's because you're so limited. Like, each color has, like, thousands of cards, right?
Yeah.
But, I don't know, maybe just the powerful ones are that much more powerful in monocolored. I don't know what it is. Maybe,
Cyclonic Rift is better than Boomerang, period.
yeah.
So-
Maybe Don Miner can comment on that.
Yeah, we should call him and ask about it someday. Yeah, maybe that could be a thing.
Spice Calculator.
Spice Calculator.
Okay. We were looking at EDHREC.com and saw that Mistform Ultimus is actually as far down the list in mono blue generals as 24th.
24th?
Yeah, that's pretty far down.
That's low as hell, actually.
At the time that we are recording, there are 104 lists for Old Misty there.
105. Somebody added one while we were recording.
Yes, the show notes say 104.
Okay.
So F that guy, whoever he is. Average converted mana cost for this deck, 3.34.
That's pretty good.
It's good, a little bit below 3.5, which means on turn 3, more often than not, you'll have, 1 or 2 things out.
Something going on?
Critical turn, 5, it's slow because, you're ramping up with a bunch of 2/2s that, it's slow.
Yeah, you're ramping into playing your three drop stuff. It's 3-drop stuff, so
Yeah.
it's only so fast.
Optimal game size, 6. It's the kind of thing where you might need attention from a few other people to kind of, tap out, swing it at somebody else, and then you get them on the crackback.
Yep. You got to fly in under the radar because there's a Krenko guy at the table, or there's an Anafenza at the table, or there's something else terrible
That's
happening.
exactly it. So, uniqueness rating. Differences in my deck today than the or from the stock list on EDHREC.com, there are 23 different cards.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of low.
But given what we were talking about earlier, where Mistform Ultimus suffers a lot from the Zeta effect, where there's only so many cards that you can play with or that are good.
I'll take it. The 4 tutors in the deck really hurt the spicy rating. We are looking at a spice rating currently of 33.
Ooh. That's sriracha sauce. I hate sriracha sauce.
Whoa. Yeah, now.
That's ketchup with pepper in it. That's what that is.
Yeah. I do have the stats if the tutors were excluded.
Sure.
So if we had...
They're clones of some sort, say.
Yeah, clones or other equipment or whatever.
Sure.
Tune the deck however you want. 3 tutors. Instead of 4, it would be 35 instead of 33.
It's not that big a change.
No. If you went 2 tutors, you'd have you'd bump the spiciness up to 38.
It's a little better.
And if you had 0 or 1 tutors, 44.
That's not too bad.
I think above 40 is just fine.
Yep. That means you're not playing a just like everybody else deck.
Yeah.
So you keep the Sea Hunter, balls the rest of that stuff, you're off to the races.
Yep, I like Sea Hunter.
Sea Hunter's excellent.
You know what you could do is keep the Sea Hunter and balls the rest of the tutors and include merfolk to find with the Sea Hunter. There's lots of other merfolk that just aren't lords that
do sweet stuff.
Will for sure benefit.
Yeah, one of them is even a ramp spell. Scrying Seanist or some crap. I don't know what it does. It taps for a colorless.
Terrible.
It doesn't matter. It's a 1/1 for 2 that taps for colorless. It's a merfolk.
So that's the deck. That is the tier 5 list. Now, a little bit underpowered because it's a jack of all trades, master of none, but very fun and commander focused, which is not quite the same or the common theme of the other tier 5ers. And we're going to read the descriptions now as a little bit of a teaser to, I guess, what you can look forward to over the next few episodes.
Tier 5, which we just talked about, is described as janky generals that can't win often in competitive metas. Vanilla generals fit in here, as well as stuff like Gallowbraid. They usually can't do much. Those commanders are mainly used as placeholders or simply to fly under the radar with a strategy that doesn't require your commander.
Hold on a sec. The only thing I heard there was commanders like Gallowbraid. F that guy, because Gallowbraid's good. So is Morinfen. Gallowbraid and Morinfen are 5/5 tramplers or flyers, depending if it's Gallowbraid or Morinfen, and they have cumulative upkeep, pay 1 life. Yeah, so then you just Mirror Universe or whatever, like the ones where you...
Lich's Mirror, Magus of the Mirror.
Or, Magus of the Mirror works because you switch life totals, or Eternity Vessel from original Zendikar, landfall, your life becomes what it was when you played the card. So you play Eternity Vessel at 40, and then every time you landfall, your life goes back to 40.
Nice.
I like that for sure.
I like that lots too.
So, Tier 4.
Tier 4. These decks are somewhat weak. They have trouble winning in competitive metas, but may do well in casual games. They need a very favorable meta and a very lucky hand to win against decks like Zur.
Yeah, F-Zur.
Yeah,
so,
Zur's a terrible guy.
Tier 4 is going to be next week's deck.
We're going to talk Karavik the Merciless.
Oh, you spoiled it.
Yeah, I spoiled it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay.
We've mentioned Karavik on the cast a few times, and we think he's a big dick.
He is a big dick. That's why we think that.
But not in a good way, though.
You'll see when we get to next week.
Let's not go into why he's a good...
No, we're not. No, let's just keep going. Let's read Tier 3. Tier 3 is where we start getting into the meat and potatoes. This is the middle tier. They can't usually compete against the Tier 1 decks, but might do fine with Tier 2. They usually have the aggro problem or are wildly inconsistent. Most of the pump stomp decks that dominate casual metas go in here. They may have a bad reputation, but that doesn't make them Tier 1.
Bad reputation are on the kitchen table.
Yes.
The
one we're talking about for Tier 3 definitely has that. Guys like Krenko also are in Tier 3.
Yeah, for sure. And they will, shithall untuned decks, Tier 4, Tier 5 decks, and they can beat Tier 2 decks pretty handily if they've got the good or if they've got their version of the nut drop.
Right.
But by and large, these are the decks that if they get into a bar fight, they're going to win the bar fight, but you put them in the UFC ring, they're going to get their ass beat.
They're tapped out pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move right along here. We'll go up to Tier 2. These are less powerful than Tier 1 decks, but still quite strong. These can definitely hold their own against Tier 1 decks. They are usually a turn slower than Tier 1, or they have consistency issues. So these are your combo control-y very focused aggro-y.
Yeah.
You have a crystallized plan here. You're not going to be being a jack of all trades in this meta, probably.
Exactly. And this list actually includes the tier 1.5. And let us know, maybe, do you want to hear the tier 1.5 or do you want us to roll in 1.5 and 1 together? Because tier 1.5 are kind of the same thing as tier 1s, except they're either meta dependent or they might have, a consistency problem, or maybe they're a little bit more fragile.
Yes.
And they're just as powerful, but they're more fragile. Maybe that's the best way to say it.
There's more glass in the cannon.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Tier 1. Tier 1, these are the decks. They're the most powerful in EDH. The combo decks can go off on turns 3-5. The stacks decks, they can get lockouts on turn 3 or 4. The hybrid decks get a disruption engine by turn 2-4. They will commonly be seen at competitive tables, and players should know how to combat them. They are resilient, pack protection and backup plans, and take dedicated hate to truly counter. Never underestimate these decks, as they are the strongest in the format.
Yep. 2 things about that. The Command Zone podcast actually, independently of us, actually just did an episode on all of the tier 1 lists.
They did all of them in one?
Well, they just covered like a kind of a few minute summary of each of the different commanders.
Neat.
Very informative. We're going to go deep on one of them for sure. The other thing about them is the tier 1 lists are tier 1 because the combos that they win by are very small and compact, and the deck is built around finding and protecting it, right?
Yes.
Or in the case of somebody like Prosh, Sky Raider of Care, he's a tier 1, and he has like 50-some ramp cards to play his 6-mana body. That's why he's good, because all of the deck is just dedicated strictly to him.
Just playing Prosh.
Oh.
And then replaying Prosh.
Yeah.
And replaying Prosh.
With Food Chain. And you know what? I guess the tier 1 lists, and this is partly why I wanted to roll the tier 1.5 lists in, is the tier 1 lists, by and large, they kind of only have 3 different combos between the 9 different commanders. And if you roll in the 1.5s, it's going to open up a whole bunch of new avenues to win by.
Let's just roll it.
Maybe we do that.
Yeah.
We're making the executive decision.
We are. Push the red button. Let's do it. So let's finish up the show for this week. We probably should have read that tier list at the beginning of the show, hey?
I suppose, but a little bit of a teaser.
Yeah. Teaser going into next week. Let us tease our next episode. So what do we want to say about Mistform Ultimus? Mistform Ultimus is a prototypical tier 5 deck. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of janky. It's super affordable, but there are better ways to do everything that it does. And we're going to get into that kind of next week and in the weeks that follow as we move our way up the ranks. And we're going to move into tier 4 on the next episode of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song!
Hello?
Hey, is this Dean Goody?
This is Dean Goody.
Is it writer for EDHREC.com, Dean Goody?
Yeah, that's me.
Co-host of Commander Time Podcast, Dean Goody?
I do that sometimes.
Hey, this is Brando and Ryan from CCO Podcast. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Dean Goody, what's
Pretty
going
good.
down?
Not too much, just chilling with the newborn.
Oh, you had a newborn? Do tell, how's he doing?
He's awesome. He's a super chill baby, actually.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Do you have a name all picked out?
Yeah, he's Ellison John Thurston Goody.
Elliston John Thurston Goody.
Yeah, he's got 4 names.
That's like 18 super powerful names. I like that.
I got 4 names too, FYI. Just good on you.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
The multiple name is a thing. So we were actually just talking kind of before we called you, and we thought that in honor of you having a new little addition to your life, we could give you the first piece ever of CCO merchandise. So we'd figure it was like a bib or something. And what would it say in it, Ryan?
Oh.
He would say, F you, Dean Goody.
Yeah.